We have so much new makeup to cover today. I first am going to be sharing with y'all today the 2 new products that seem to be part of kind of a rebrand packaging wise from Makeup Forever. Like, that's not the Makeup Forever packaging that we're used to seeing. It's very different and new. So we've got here the Super Boost Perfecting Moisture Boosting Skin Tint. I got this in the shade 1. And I got the Super Boost Moisturizing Plump Effect Lip Gloss in Wherever Walnut, which is a very popular shade in their lip pencil. Next, I have the new highlighters from Ciele. So we've got Church, Piper, and Penny. While I bought the Makeup Forever stuff, this came in PR, and I've been testing them for a couple of weeks now. I'm really excited to share those with y'all. REFY also sent me some stuff, so this isn't all new, but it's new to me. Like, you've seen quite a bit of the bronzer lately, and then this is their powder. It's one of those water effect powders where, you know, like the old Prescriptives powder or the one from It has a little trampoline in it, and it puffs up, and then when it does, it's like when it goes on your face, it feels like water. I also find this incredibly satisfying. REFY makes their compacts the same size, so they're stackable. Attention to detail. I like that a lot. I bought a couple of the new Rare Beauty blushes, and it's one of those hybrid formulas. You know what I mean? If I were to push it, it's a putty. So it leaves a really beautiful finish on the skin. Oh yeah, and you saw them in the last video, but I bought the new contours from Rare Beauty as well. And also, REFY sent me their brow gel. This is so good. I cannot wait to show you all this. Let's go ahead and jump in, y'all. I don't have anything on my skin yet, but I mean, I have sunscreen on from earlier, but this is heckin' dewy. I don't really think that we need to put something slippy on underneath. So this is, again, the Makeup Forever Super Boost Skin Tint, and you can see here, the component makes you want to squish the bottom. Beep boop, like a little accordion, and that's how you squeeze the product out. And for once in a brand new component, I mean, I don't know if this is a brand new component, but like, first time I'm seeing it, for the first time in recorded history, this is a very functional mechanism, okay? Like, it really does what it is designed to do. Is it absolutely necessary? No, but it's not a clicky button, and it's not, I don't know, pushing something out into a brush. It just Surratt and all of their overcomplication comes to mind, and it's like, this is just so much more elegant, even if it's not the most sophisticated looking packaging in the world, you know? Oh man, did y'all watch? I mean, if you watched my last video, you know, like, I still think that the information in it was helpful. I do, but some people were pointing out, they're like, did you like switch sides of your face in the demonstration like halfway through? I'm like rewatching it, I'm like, not only did I think I switched right after bronzer, but also when I explain what I'm going to do in the very beginning of the segment, I explain it wrong. Like, I explain something that makes sense to do and then I do the opposite. Yeah, I'm gonna use the excuse that Uranus was opposing Mercury that day, okay? I was personally victimized by the planets. I think we are all being kind of personally victimized by the planets right now. Okay, so as you can see, dewy, very nice. I'm gonna lower my light because it's like, this is so reflective. It's a pretty good match, but it's also on the light side for me. I should like swatch it against the exact match that I got from Decipher so that you can see how different AI thinks that my skin is versus like this color that I bought. I really think that this is the correct shade for me in the line because it's like the fair neutral. I don't think that I would want to accidentally go darker because it's so sheer. I just think that like this is easier to use, but we can take some liberties with the bronzer and such. But I want to humor myself right now. Editing me always hates when I do this. It's like, Khaki, just get on with it. But it's like, I can't help myself. The weeds call and I must answer. Oh yeah, this is funny. Those are both complexion shades like for my foundation and they both work. I don't know. That's just funny. We are not gonna do concealer just yet because I want to demonstrate something I very fortunately woke up with especially purple under eyes today. It's like, did she sleep at all? Who knows? It's all part of my mystique. The truth is, I think it's because I started my period today, so it's like, we're looking a little iron deficient. So I have here, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these because we're gonna use them throughout, I think, as highlighter and, you know, various steps, but these shades are really interesting choices from Ciele. I haven't watched, I don't know if there is kind of a release video or if they do anything like that. If they do, that would be neat because I always like watching how, especially someone as charismatic as Nikki is, to, you know, have an explainer video. She probably does. It probably just didn't show up on my Instagram, you know? Okay, so this one is Penny. Easy to remember because it's copper like a penny. Remember pennies? Then we have Piper, very, very cute. And then we have Church. I do not know why they are called Piper and Church, but I think that it is very cute. Very, very cute. So as you can see, we've got something that is yellow, okay? Not just gold, but like a yellow, pale yellow choice there. And they're very, very shimmery. They're really easy to use. I like them a lot. They have a really great base serum kind of formula, I feel like, across their entire line. And it makes me trust like liquid products from them in general. But the first thing I thought of, and I'm sure y'all have already figured out where I'm going with this, but it's like my under eyes are so purple right now, and this is yellow. Why not use just a touch of it in the places on my face that are a little bit sallow to do a little bit of color correction? Because actually when I talked about this in a color correcting video, I was like, make sure you get the stuff on that is already going to provide coverage before you decide how to color correct, because foundation is going to change the color of what it is that you're trying to cover. So if you're trying to cover a blemish that was red before you put your foundation on, it's not red anymore. So don't put green on top of it, you know what I mean? Put something like, analyze what color that is, and that color is kind of purple now. Now I want to be careful because this is potent. It's potent stuff. You don't want to just be like, whoop. You know, it's not designed to be a color corrector, so you have to be really careful with it, but I just feel drunk with power on this yellow color. So gonna do just a touch. See, look how freaking bright it is. Daggum. A little tiny bit here. It's just like the healing blemishes, and this part's an experiment because I have not yet used it on like forehead healing pimples yet. Like I said, my period just started, so we'll go in order here, but you'll see one eye. Ooh, I should have blended more quickly, but I think we're good. I might have to put a little bit more on because I think it sort of dried down before I got there. I don't think so, maybe not. I might just put more on, we'll see. I have done this before. But like I said, I think I only did it like on my under eyes and around here. I haven't actually tried it on blemishes yet. I mean, the zit that is healing has a lot of dry skin on the top of it, and so it's kind of soaking the product up the way that it would anything. And so it's not the most elegant finish in the world, but like, that's effective. Wow, who knew? Okay, and that is not an embarrassing amount of sheen, you know? I mean, that looks a little silly. Like I said, it sort of soaked the product up, but I'm gonna put concealer on it anyway. I wanna do just a little more under my eyes, see what we can get from it. I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand. This is actually when I did a really lovely, very, very lucky to be able to do a masterclass with Nikki in the city last October. I took Ingrid with me. It was so much fun. And that was what she suggested doing with pretty much all of their formulas, was putting it on the back of your hand. Ooh, let's do my eyelids too. And working off the back of your hand, like loading your tool first, so that you're not trying to spread something out once it's already on the skin. Just makeup artist advice. I don't always follow it, but it is very good advice. That is great. That looks great. I don't know, I mean, I guess I could leave the house like that. It's my lights that make everything look so reflective, but they're also like so unrealistic. It's so that you can see, but in daylight it wouldn't look like that. You also don't really see exactly how like red my nose is and how inconsistent the pigment of my face is. It's a little bit more flattering because of the lights, but also you see so much more detail in like the blacks of, you know, on camera. So either way. All right, we don't have a new concealer today, do we? Oh wait, we do, because REFY also sent me theirs and I have already had it in 2 colors, and then they let me pick this one out, and so I decided to try, I think, shade 2. And it's a fantastic match. I also own one. I don't really know why. I don't remember buying it. And it is like stark white. Like, I don't need that, but I'll show you the difference between 2 and 3 here. You know what what happened? I pulled out the old one that I had, 3 that I had bought, and I thought I was using 2 this whole time because it was in the pile with all the new stuff, but it was 3 the whole time because 2 is actually, I think, a little bit too light for me. And we're not gonna keep going lighter today because my complexion was already so much lighter than my skin tone. So I'm gonna continue in with the color that I've used the whole time. It has been a lot of that lately where I'm like, oh, I'm absolutely positive that I have the correct information. And then it's like, nope. No, actually we will also work from the back of my hand on this one. All right, REFY number 3. See, it's already pretty bright. Like, I would not wanna go in with 2. I wonder if I've ever tried shade 2. I wonder if it's just sitting over there just waiting, you know, like, it's definitely my turn today, right? Oh, sorry. And I'm trying to apply a really thin layer of it so that you can still see some of the effect that's given by the highlighter underneath my eyes, because I do find it to be really fantastic. Like how it's like the opposite of richness, because we were going for something a little bit lighter, and so it's like instead of building richness, we're building like this dimensional coverage essentially that doesn't just look like, you know, one big layer of one color. It actually has the filler in between, as if we were bleaching hair. I'm going to stop with that metaphor because I will, again, the weeds they call. Yeah, this is great coverage. It's just a really agreeable formula. It is a really natural skin finish with like a teeny tiny bit of dewiness, not any kind of like textural luminosity, but just the finish on it is really pretty and a little bit hydrated. So, I mean, Jess Hunt always looks very hydrated, like so moisturized. She's thriving, she's in her lane, you know? Hopefully that's what we get a little bit of. What was that? Oh, that's my contour. Oh no. Oh, they're all pitching themselves off my desk. I'm trying not to take it personally. I always have to sit cross-legged or I don't feel like I am stable. I feel like I'm gonna slip onto the floor. Okay, we need bronzer and we need it fast. So I'm going to use these as bronzer and contour today. So gentle as contour, mellow as bronzer, and they're just gorgeous. The formula is so stinking pretty. She really took the idea of the blushes and said like, well, if we're gonna do this, right? If we're gonna make a bronzer of this, it needs to be a lot less threatening than the blushes are. And so this is a very, very agreeable, forgiving, a lot surer. I mean, a quarter of the pigment, if that, from the blushes. It's just such an easier formula to work with, which is what I want out of a contour, because you want a contour to virtually disappear. I don't want a line, you know, I don't want anybody to clock it. So that is gentle, very gentle, so gentle. So pretty. So pretty, so easy to use, and I have a ton of it on my hand, and like you're really able to get such a sheer wash of it. It's easier, I'm gonna say it, it's easier to work with than the Charlotte Tilbury, and I freaking love the Charlotte Tilbury, especially since they put out the new shade range. But like, I like this shade range better and I like this formula better. It's just better. It's just easier. It's creamier looking on the skin, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury is so thin, it really kind of feels, it feels like it's gonna stamp and skip a little bit more, whereas this feels like it's working for you. Like it's doing you favors that you don't necessarily expect, but boy, it's nice that they're there, you know? The snowplow. It snowed 2 inches last night, and I mean, the lead up to the snow was like, oh my god, it's gonna be the apocalypse. And then afterwards, I guess it's still snowing, I don't know, but I mean, round the clock they've had those snow plows out. I'm like, guys, it was 2 inches. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate it, I do. You know, maybe they're afraid that it's gonna rain and it'll ice over, because that, I'm learning, is absolutely horrible. Like, do not neglect to shovel the drive until it turns to ice, because then you are screwed. Because I was screwed the other day and I was like, I don't want to kill my mailman. Like, I had to DoorDash like 6 bags of salt, of snow salt, because I was like, I do not want to be liable for people dying on my sidewalk, because I went out there the next morning instead of that afternoon, like the former afternoon, to go and shovel, and I was like, Eek! Oh no. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna wake up the whole neighborhood. It's so loud. I was like working. I had a lot of work to do. I don't know why I didn't go out. Oh, it's just because it was so early, I think. I was just like, Jesus, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I will tip somebody really big to go and get me some salt, you know? I also had this incredible moment that I'm sure everyone who has like been new to the snow or the ice has tried, and that is that I didn't have any like walkway salt, and so I went out there and just poured table salt on there. Nothing happened. It was hilarious. I heard like this very satisfying crinkle, and then I watched it all just sink down, and I was like, oh, well, that was all the salt I had. Okay, so that is bronzer, and I want to see if I want to use Penny or Piper. I think they're both too dark for me. Like, that's quite a bit too dark for me. That's Penny. And I've used Piper, and Piper is still a little bit like, it doesn't just disappear into my skin. And you would think that it would, because it's like this really pretty pink, but it does have a little tiny bit of like that calamine lotion color to it. That is not an insult. That is just me having a very specific color in mind that I need to convey. It's like that a little bit clay colored peach that's behind it, and I think that that's what makes it kind of dry down in a way that looks more like blush than highlighter on me, and so I will use a little bit of it in the blush area. and try not to get it too high. But I want y'all to see what the color looks like. Yeah. I mean, when I get really close to the camera, everything just looks shiny, but you can see it's a little bit, it has a little bit more pigment on me. And I think that, yeah, you can see, I think that I could probably get away with using Penny too, just as long as I didn't put it in like a really, you know, fair part of my face. But once it shears out, you know, it's easy to get carried away. It's so pretty. I really like those. They are really easy to work with, and they are an SPF 50. So it's like the places that I've been putting their concealer, because I love the SPF 50, like who doesn't want that as a highlight? Because that's where the sun hits my face first, is right there. It's like SPF 50. We love to see it. Before we do blush, I want to go in with a little bit of this powder. This powder, in theory, is the kind of thing that should work for someone like me. You know, it's kind of like the hydrating powder for dry-skinned people who probably shouldn't be using very much powder to begin with. And so it is ideal, I think. Hang on, was that? Huh, that's really not bad. I don't know. It's like, I don't know whether I'm supposed to tap it or swipe it with this stuff, because it feels, since it's wet, it feels like it wants to grab, but it goes on so smoothly. I think that I experienced so many issues with other ones because they tended to go a little bit darker than my skin tone once they got on. Like the translucent was not translucent, and this actually is truly translucent. I like it a lot. I like the finish that it leaves on my skin, but it doesn't really have any coverage to it. You can see like it didn't do anything to continue to camouflage my blemishes or anything. That is not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of, because when I use the Kosas, I do rely on it to have a little bit of coverage. It does kind of help disguise my blemishes. But look at my, well, look at my under eye. Between having the highlighter underneath and then having that powder on top, what a pretty, like smooth, natural looking under eye that is. Blush! Okay, the shades that I bought, I don't know if I mentioned it, I didn't. Truth and Hope. I think that these are already pre-existing shades. I know Hope is in other formulas. Hope and Truth. Hope and Truth. Hope and Truth. Very, very pretty. Like, Truth is a better, it looks like it's gonna be a better color for me, where like that is so stinking pinkin', isn't it? I don't know. It's the one I haven't tried yet. I've tried the berry one, and we can always top with the berry one. So I'm gonna just bite the bullet and go for this. Is that a snowplow or a jackhammer? Or a helicopter? What are you doing? We'll do it live. I'm gonna go in with a sponge on this because this kind of formula, I don't know. I don't know if I wanna put it on a brush. I feel like it might disturb my other makeup quite a bit. I'm being very, very ginger here. I don't wanna get too much on because we did so much work to get everything really, like the textures blended together and everything. I don't want it to just be all blush at the end of the day. There is no shimmer to this. So the shine that you're seeing coming through is still the highlighter. Oopsies, haha. I, for a minute, thought I was putting on bronzer. Sorry about that. My brain just blanked. I was just like, bronzer it is. Like, nope, that's way too much blush khaki. Uh-oh. And yet the earth continues turning. Doing a little analysis here, I think we could get away with putting a little bit more of the other color on, because I'm not gonna do much of an eye look today, I don't think. I can't tell you at this point. Okay, so a little bit of the berry color. I'm gonna kinda, yeah, try and get a little sunburn moment out of it. The thing is, my skin robs things of their coolness. So like I use something that goes a little bit more purple to achieve something a little bit more neutral pink, because my skin will make things go more pink, and you can see it is turning that pink. It's turning it so pink. So I wanted kind of a ruddy color out of it, something a little more sunburny, but it just doesn't have enough red in it for that. That's not a criticism. It is just something to be aware of. It's giving cold girl a little bit more than sunburn. I'm so glad that we have these cultural touchstones that we can all refer to. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I absolutely detest this lip product from Makeup Forever, and so I would typically put it on and then try to match my eye look to it to make a really composed look come together, but we're just gonna have to wing it because I want that product to spend as little time on my lips as humanly possible. So I'm gonna zoom through an eye look. not know. I thought that I was being so smart using that YSL palette, and then I just kind of ran out of runway. I want to use the REFY. Yeah, I think they're snow blowing now. 2 inches of snow. 2 inches of snow. Men have a fascination with getting out there with a power tool and dominating nature. I don't understand. It's like there's like I was able to do it with a broom. Okay, calm down. So REFY, this is, I had not seen this. I don't know how new this is, but when I bought all their stuff the first time, I bought all the brow products and I never saw this one. But this one is in a shade, it's in the shade medium brown, and this is the, it's so unique. First of all, the girl doesn't know an off-the-shelf component. Doesn't know it, doesn't know the possibility of that. She's like, nope, it's gonna be custom. My components are all gonna be custom. I love this because it looks exactly like I have drawn my eyebrows in with the most delicate pencil in the world. It does not fill in my brows with any kind of fiber. It just makes each hair look darker and defined. There's no added blur, okay? You're going to see every single brow hair in that super defined, beautiful way, but either because of the formula or because of the applicator or both, you don't get that thing where you can't keep from getting it on your skin because it's too thin. I'm gonna do the other brow. Yeah, a lot of times when things are soupy and the applicator is too narrow, it will just touch your skin and get everywhere. That is the shortfall, I think, of the Thrive Cosmetics brow product. It is not a bad formula, but the applicator is so hard to control. It just makes it hard to control that product because it is so thin. I think this is very much what they were going for with that product. Now, is it gonna work if you don't have brows? No, because it needs something to grab onto. But does Jess Hunt have another brow product for you? Absolutely. Can you tell I'm putting off applying this lip color? Okay, I really thought I played it safe with this, and I think that this is a product, I mean, I complained about it before when Makeup by Mario put out a bunch of lip glosses because I'm just like, really? But at the same time, like, that's money, and it's a very good product because everybody loves a lip gloss and it's a bunch of colors, go off Mario, you know what I mean? At some point I have to admit that like boring was what I wanted, and those are really nice. It's pretty hard to mess up a lip gloss, okay? And this being a super abuse, but what do they actually call this? Yeah, they're calling it a gloss. I had to double check because this is a product, the texture of which I have never encountered in my life up to this point. And I forgot to mention, but the skin tint is scented, but in a very unnoticeable way. I was a little disappointed, but like it's a little bit fruity, I think. It's like not that big of a deal, but it is something to be aware of. You will not mistake this for being unscented. Oh, it has stages. It comes in waves. Oh, it's awful. I'm so sorry I'm being so dramatic, but like the first phase is like floral, and then a little bit of like this icky fruit, and then mint. And I'm just like, it's like when my ex-husband, you're really breaking my concentration, who has the world's most rapid cycling ADHD I have ever seen in my entire life, would go into one of those self-serve yogurt places and we'd get out of there and I would have like vanilla and caramel and coffee flavor, you know what I mean? They agree. There's some harmony there. Maybe I went for a little mochi, you know? And I'm like, what'd you get? And he's like, I don't know, I panicked. And it'd be like blueberry, peanut butter, and peppermint. And it was like, oh God, it was awful. And he's like, this is really, really bad. I didn't know you could mess this up. I didn't know you could mess this up this bad. Like it's so bad in terms of just before you even put it on, encountering this smell. It is like it was built by committee and they all hated each other. So let's put it on. Okay, so actually I wanna show you because like, this is one of the like ickier, stickier, goopier like formulas I have ever used. And this, I'm sorry. Like, why does that look like one of the plants out of Wind Waker? Like, it's not giving glamour. It's not giving, I want to put that on my mouth. I don't know. Maybe I just hate it and I want to keep hating it. Being a hater is kind of fun sometimes. So I was like, well, at least, you know, when you put it on, it's a plumping effect. It's going to be pretty. First of all, it's hard to spread it out. It's wildly thick. wildly, wildly thick. And you cannot get little enough of it on this applicator, because as soon as you start trying to use the applicator, which is very much shaped as if it wants you to then trace the outline of your mouth with it, because it's got kind of a point on it, you end up with so much product on. And it's really goopy, like really, really, really sticky goopy for, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, not that much of a reward. Like, I consider the Prada lipsticks to be one of those products that like makes you, I know I'm gonna start having that thing. Ugh. Prada is one that I'm willing to compromise on, even though it's not a perfect product. The effect that you achieve and the colors that they came out with and the wear time, and also interacting with that packaging, is worth some of the things that I don't like the fragrance. Like, you have to really work it onto your lips, and I don't love the smell, but like the rest of it makes it worth it, because once you get it on, it's really like nothing else. Like, I don't have things that I can like dupe those lipsticks with. This looks completely normal, and it is such an unpleasant thing to have on your mouth, because it's like, again, minty, floral, and sticky fruity smelling, and it lingers. It's really strong. Why? Like, why couldn't we leave it at 1? I mean, now it's in my mouth. I understand that the minty part is for plumping, so leave it minty. Or add something that agrees with mint, like vanilla. It's so over-designed. It's so over-designed. I've never seen so much attention put into a lip gloss that could have been so elegant, and yet it is just fussed to death conceptually. And so it's really, really, really unpleasant to wear. Like, my mouth tastes like it. My mouth is also tingling, because if you get any of it in your mouth starts tingling, because it's like got the mint, and it's like numbing. It's like numbing my gums right now. Some people are probably not gonna have a problem with this at all. I find it to be a sensory nightmare. It absolutely overstimulates me instantly. It is a sensory nightmare. And so for those people out there who are like, you know, your senses get overwhelmed really easily, do not spend your money on that. No, 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 no. It is just not that hard to make a lip gloss, okay? And that just, I mean, it doesn't even look that good. What did we just use that was similar to that color? Because I will just put that on. Oh, we used the Louboutin. I don't know if I want to put that on. Maybe, let's do it. Just because I don't really think that this solves the issue, because it's also quite scented, but like, it doesn't offend me as much. And I find the color to be really appealing, and the packaging and everything like that. Like, do not run out and buy this. I don't think that anybody needs to run out and buy this. It's not the most unique product in the world, but I'm glad that I have it, and it really goes with this look, so. And it really picked one smell. It's a light floral smell, not Gucci, you know what I mean? Not even Prada. Like, it's just a very light smell, and it's a very lightweight lip gloss. It's got bounce to it though. It's not sticky at all. It's got a little bit of that liquid lip balm bounce to it. And the wand is teeny tiny, oddly unpretentious by comparison to everything else. It's really easy to use. It doesn't lay too much product down, and it's lovely. It's a very pleasant thing to wear, even though it is not the scent that I would have chosen, okay? And this is called Smoky Nudie, I think is the name of this shade, and it actually goes beautifully with this muddy freaking eye look that I ended up with. So let's go into final thoughts, y'all. After that absolute tirade. This is a neither here nor there, y'all. I don't love the appearance of the packaging. This is not something that excites me, but if it were a remarkable formula, it wouldn't need to excite me. You know what I mean? Like, is this a perfect package? Well, no, you know, all the letters rubbed off and stuff, but the Lisa Eldridge is the best formula that I have ever used in a skin tint. They could put it in a baggie and sell it behind Walgreens, okay? Like, I would buy it. This is a skin tint. This is a skin tint. It's like a little bit, what's the word? Gel-like? You know, so it has that kind of gel bounce to it. It has a little bit of a scent to it. Makeup Forever, for whatever reason, still can't seem to get a really firm grasp on foundation shade ranges, but I think that this one's a little bit better, probably because it's so low coverage. I think that the main thing that I would say about it is that it's just kind of unremarkable. It's not super expensive either, but like, I guess you make one of these because there isn't one in your collection already, but I mean, florals for spring, groundbreaking. I'm gonna draw some circles around my pimples with my pencil. This is in shade 3, because I do feel as if, I think it's the powder. The powder, I think that that's one of the complaints that I've had about those kinds of powders in the past, is that they kind of render other things on your face more translucent. Like they'll kind of like take the coverage away somehow from like your concealer. Very, very strange phenomenon. Like you wouldn't think that something would be able to do that, but I've experienced it more than once. It can't be entirely my imagination. I don't care what anybody says. These things are life-changing. Oh, the texture of my skin after I get done ovulating, it just goes like it's so noticeable because nature only sees you for one purpose, and so it's going to make you unattractive the rest of the time, apparently. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm unattractive, but I think that my skin is really frustratingly like dry and textured right now. And it has everything to do with the fact that your hormones only care whether you're able to have a baby. We'll take the rest of the month off. My mouth still doesn't taste. I don't think that anybody should run out and buy that lip gloss. It's very pretty, but like it can be achieved in other ways. I don't know if you all saw, but I used the Ciele highlighters in my eyeshadow look and it worked fine. I think that what is really, I mean, obviously they're very good, but I think that what is really unique here, besides it being SPF 50, is this one right here, because if you've got purple under eyes, this is pretty awesome. If you've got deeper skin and purple under eyes, you're gonna wanna use something more intense, like it goes into orange, you know, but if you're like me and it's like your skin is just freaking see-through and that's why it's purple, this could be pretty awesome. I have not seen anything this color in this kind of formula that like behaves that way. Like nothing's crossed my plate that does that. And I know that that's not really probably what it was intended to do, but that was the first thing that came to mind. And I think it makes a really big difference. It's just pretty, it's very ethereal looking and it makes everything look a little bit more effortless, you know? The whole face of makeup I feel like looks more effortless for the fact that like my under eyes don't feel heavy. But the formula is really, really lovely. If you're looking for a serum highlighter, the thing that sets these apart is obviously that like they're gonna go on the part of your face that the sun hits first and they have SPF 50 in them. So that's phenomenal. Like that sets them apart to me. The Rare Beauty, I mean, I've already said how I feel about these. They're gorgeous. I highly recommend them. They're really, really easy to work with. And I think that they're probably all on display at the Sephora, you know, at the mall, the one we all have, that mall. If you have a Sephora near you, you can definitely go look at the shades because they always have, you know, the whole bay. So you can see what works for you. But I also think that these are pretty easy shades to navigate. I just think that they did a really good job with it. But yeah, I'm gonna keep these out. It's crazy because when I first tried the new Charlotte Tilbury shade, I was like, this is the one, you know? And like, it's just better all around. It's easier to work with. I like the packaging better. I like the formula better. I like that it's creamier. It's a lot more forgiving and it's probably less expensive. The blushes, I mean, I like the formula. I think I did a bad job picking colors, but also I think that like the colors were not that easy. Like they were all pretty vivid. Again, florals for spring. Like we're not looking at, I think, really anything grungy. I preliminarily like these. It's a putty. I'm sure if I like racked my brain, I could think of some other things that are like this, but it's just a very typical putty blush. If you like the colors, then check it out. What else? We didn't do anything new on my eyelids, but that brow gel is off the charts. If this is what you're trying to achieve, it just gives beautiful, very believable brow hairs. Like it turns your brow hairs into, it looks like you got your brows professionally microbladed. Like that's the effect. And it thrills me every single time that it doesn't get on the skin. And it's a very specific thing, but again, she's got an absolute wardrobe of eyebrow products in her brand. And yeah, I mean, I don't think that I am going to belabor the lip product any longer, but I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope it was educational for y'all and for your wallets. I hope I saved you some money or helped you make some decisions. If I did, can you leave those in the comments down below? I'd really appreciate that, and any other requests y'all might have. If you did appreciate the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are new here or you just have not subscribed, please subscribe while you're here. We would love to have you. I'll put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you for being here. I love y'all so much, and I will see you in the next one.